Like, you could say that the Mexican War of Independence was caused by aliens, and you'd probably lose a lot of historical fact-based evidence points, but it would still technically be an argument. Hi guys, it's Krystle, back at it again with another video, and if you saw my last video, which I uploaded yesterday, then you know that I'm starting a new series on this channel called 5 Hacks for a 5, where I'm trying to help you guys figure out how to score as high as possible on different AP exams. But what I didn't tell you guys in my last video was that this is actually going to be a daily series. So every day for a week, I'm going to be uploading a video on a new AP exam to help you guys do as awesomely as humanly possible. Honestly, ever since I graduated from high school and got into Columbia, that was probably the part of high school I missed the least, just because I know that whole grind and it pretty much sucks. But it's always been my goal with this channel to make the kind of content that I wished I had access to when I was back in high school and I was trying to learn about college and APs and all that jazz. So today, if you couldn't tell from the video title, I'm going to be dropping my top hacks for how I got a 5 on the AP World History exam, otherwise known as APWH. We'll just go with APWA. I promise I'll get to the video in just a second, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciate all of you guys and how we're building this little corner of the internet together. And it's just so meaningful to me every time I see someone new subscribe or a new username down in the comments. And you guys should definitely subscribe, and you can also follow me on my social media. And I'm also still doing my giveaway, which is ongoing, where every 30 subscribers I pick someone new to do a free essay critique for. And all you have to do to enter is be subscribed to this channel, click the link and enter your email in the description box below, and write "I entered" in the comments, and you can use it for like high school or college or summer program applications, anything that you might need. So just go ahead and enter, like why wouldn't you? And that's all that I had to say, so let's get on with the show. So the APWA exam is centered around 5 different themes. Knowing these themes will help you structure your own studying and will apply to pretty much every section of the exam, which consists of multiple choice, short answers, and essays. My other hacks will go into each of these sections in way more detail, so let's go. So I would preface this by saying I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the humanities APs. I think they can be really reductive, and the rubrics they use to evaluate the essays tend to reward gaming the system more than real deep knowledge. However, so long as the APs are going to be like this, there are specific actionable steps you can take to ensure that you get the highest score possible, and that starts with knowing exactly how the essays are scored and what you can do to rack up more points. So there are 2 essays on the APWA exam, the long essay and the document-based question, or the infamous DBQ, scourge of students everywhere. The maximum number of points you can get on the long essay is 6, and 7 for the DBQ. Now, this was changed pretty recently from the old format of having 3 essays, so just keep that in mind if what I'm saying right now is making you go like, what? Now, the thing is, the College Board maintains a really specific rubric of exactly what you need to do to get the maximum number of points on each of those essays, and I've linked that down below, so I would definitely advise familiarizing yourself with that rubric. Like, know it inside and out. Know it like the back of your hand. Actually, there was a psychological study done where it turns out that most people can't pick out the backs of their own hands from a bunch of the backs of other people's hands, so you know what? Know it better than the back of your hand. For example, you're given a ton of sources in the DBQ to refer to in the essay, and you get 1 point if you refer to 3 or more, but if you refer to 6 or more, then you get 2 points. It's those kinds of things that can really add up and make a difference. So, like I said earlier, I kind of do like to rag on this exam, but even I have to admit that they are making something of an effort in recent years to pique students' critical thinking. So, like on both the long essay and the DBQ, you can get 1 point if you use evidence that's relevant to the topic of the prompt. However, if you use that evidence to support your own original argument about the topic of the prompt, then you can get up to 2 points. So what's the difference between a topic and an argument? Well, the topic is what your essay is about. So let's say for the GBQ you're given a bunch of sources about, I don't know, the Mexican War of Independence. That's your topic. But then if you use those sources to help you say that you think that the Mexican War of Independence was caused by Napoleon's occupation of Spain, then that's your argument. Side note, an argument doesn't actually necessarily have to be correct or even make any sort of sense at all. Like, you could say that the Mexican War of Independence was caused by aliens, and you'd probably lose a lot of historical fact-based evidence points, but it would still technically be an argument. So the essays are actually the last part of the APOA exam, so we're moving backwards in time. And this next tag is actually applicable to both the essays and the short answer section, where you have to write several paragraphs in response to historical quotes or images or other instructions that they might give you. Now, the hope is you've listened in class all year and kept up a study schedule, just because you do need to have some content-based knowledge to ace this exam. But there are some measures that you can take if you don't know exactly what the question is asking of you. And that entails basically writing everything down, even if you don't know that it necessarily answers the question, but you do know that it's relevant to the topic at hand. That's because the people who are scoring the AP exam and the AP scoring guidelines themselves are on your side, which is kind of nice. And that means that basically if you write down something, anything, then they might still be able to give you partial credit. So I just kind of bumped into my camera a little bit, so that's why the angle might be slightly different, but at last we get to our final hack. Dun dun dun! I'm so sorry. So the thing to know is that the multiple choice section is divided into 6 separate time periods. Up to 600 BCE, 600 BCE to 600 CE, 600 CE to 1450 CE, 1450 CE to 1750 CE, 1750 CE to 1900 CE, and finally 1900 CE to the present. So if you have a question that's asking you about one of those specific time periods, then it's a lot easier to answer that question if you know what was going on during that time period. So for example, if you don't necessarily know what you're up against with a question, but you can tell that it was taking place during the Enlightenment or during industrialization, then it's a lot easier to figure out what it's asking of you. So these are my best A+ study tips. This was one of my favorite classes that I took in high school, mostly because my teacher was really awesome and didn't give us much homework, like, at all. But I still did have to figure out my own study hacks to get a 5, and these worked really well for me, and I'm sure that they will for you as well, especially figuring out how to game the point system. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, follow me on social media, and comment down below to let me know what your best study tips are. And I will be back again tomorrow with another 5 hacks for a 5 video. Thank you again so much for watching, you guys. I love you all. Bye for now. I feel like such a teacher with this tie. My God. If you couldn't tell from the document-based question, or APOA, if you use APOA, 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 APOA. Wow.